If you think you understand what happened in the 7 minutes Jon Stewart spent at The Daily Show desk on March 3, 2026, the 7 minutes that broke every Comedy Central YouTube record set in the previous 22 years, watch it again. Not for the jokes, for the architecture of what the jokes were carrying. The segment had a name before it had a script. Stewart had used it for 22 years. He had retired it when he left The Daily Show in 2015 because he thought, and said, on the final broadcast, that the situation it described was coming to an end, and that naming it again would require a set of circumstances he hoped would not return. The circumstances returned. He named it again. He said, "I have reluctantly brought back our over 20-year recurring segment." He said it the way a doctor describes a chronic condition that has come out of remission, not dramatically, but with the specific exhaustion of a man who has treated this condition before and knows exactly what the treatment involves. He said, "Mesopotamia, America's next top model." The room erupted, not at the name, at the return of the name, at the specific quality of a bit revived, not because the writer wanted to revive it, but because the situation demanded it, which is the only reason a segment with 22 years of documented history has any right to come back. Stewart understood this. He said it plainly. He had hoped not to need it. He needed it. Then he told the room what had happened over the weekend. The first line of what had happened over the weekend was, "The United States and Israel launched a surprise military assault on Iran on Friday night, resulting in the death of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei." He said it in the flat, informational register of a man reading a fact that is still new enough to be strange and is being reported accurately rather than dramatized. He let the fact sit for one beat. Then he said, "Apparently, America had to initiate an entire conflict to eliminate an 86-year-old man in poor health rather than wait, I don't know, 3 weeks for saturated fat to take its toll." The room broke. The laugh was complete and involuntary. The crack of an audience that has been holding the weight of an extraordinary fact and has just been given permission to set it down through the specific instrument of a sentence that is both funny and, in its clinical precision, more honest about the situation than anything that had been said from any official podium in the preceding 48 hours. Stewart did not wait for the laugh to fully resolve before he continued. He moved to the response. Iran, following the strikes, had launched retaliatory attacks on U.S. military installations across Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. He showed the map. He said, "America and Israel strike Iran. Iran's response is to attack everyone else." He said, "Having been in a couple of bar fights myself, I'm pretty sure the worst thing to do when you're in a 2-on-1 is to start hitting everyone else at the party." The laugh again. Different frequency. Not the release laugh, the recognition laugh, the laugh of people who have just been given the most accurate available metaphor for a geopolitical situation that no official briefer had been willing to describe in plain language. Then he stopped. He said, "I want to be precise about something." The delivery dropped, not lower in volume, more specific in register, the shift that Stewart makes when he is moving from comedy into the thing the comedy is scaffolding. He said, "On Friday night, the President of the United States launched a war against a nation of 93 million people from the basement of his Mar-a-Lago resort." He said he announced it while wearing a USA cap. He said he was asked at the subsequent briefing what the objective of the operation was. He played the clip. The clip was 41 seconds of Trump meandering through topics at the briefing. Trade, the border, a compliment for Pete Hegseth, a reference to a golf score, without addressing the objective question. 41 seconds. The room was quiet for all of them. Stewart said, "I cannot believe it." He said it in the specific register of a man who can believe it completely and is reporting that belief as a statement about the distance between what a president should be able to answer and what this president had answered in 41 seconds about an active military engagement. He said, "Our bombs are now smarter than our president." He said it once. In the flat, even voice of a man reading a conclusion that the evidence has already produced. He did not wait for the laugh. He moved. He said, "Let me tell you what Pete Hegseth said." He pulled up the clip. Hegseth, at the Pentagon briefing that Monday, had told reporters that the United States did not start this war. He had said it with the forward confidence of a man delivering a line that has been prepared and reviewed and signed off on. Stewart replayed it. He said, "The United States and Israel launched the opening strikes." He said, "Iran retaliated." He said, and the Secretary of Defense told reporters, with cameras running, that the United States did not start this war. He said, that is either the most creative definition of starting in the recorded history of military conflict, or someone in the Pentagon has decided that the American public is not going to notice. He said, the American public has Jon Stewart. The room laughed. He waited for it. Then he said, how quickly the right has gone from peace through strength to peace through war. He said it the way he says the line that is the entire monologue's destination, quietly, without vocal emphasis, in the register of a man who has been building to this sentence for 7 minutes and is now setting it down on the desk and looking at it. The room went silent. Not the between laughs quiet, the specific silence of 400 people who have just been given the most accurate available summary of a political transformation that had occurred across 8 years. The transformation of a movement that had run on the explicit promise of ending foreign wars into a movement that had launched one from a resort basement without congressional authorization or a defined objective. In 12 words. He said it once. He did not repeat it. He looked at the camera with the eye contact of a man who has said the thing he came to say and is confirming the room has received it. Then he said, and we're all just along for the ride, in a conflict with no clear objective and no end in sight, all at the whim of Donald Trump. He closed the segment. The segment was 7 minutes and 14 seconds. By the time the East Coast broadcast ended, the clip had 11 million views on YouTube. By morning, 19 million. By the time the April 20th episode aired, the one with the checkerboard chess checkers prop, the one where Stewart laid out every strategic concession of the 8 weeks from launch to the ceasefire, Iran was calling a crushing defeat. The one where the conclusion of the checkerboard demonstration was that Trump had played the art of the deal against Iran and won nothing. The March 3rd clip had 47 million views and had broken every Comedy Central YouTube record set in the preceding 22 years. Trump posted about Stewart 4 times in the 24 hours after the March 3rd broadcast. He said Stewart was a has-been. He said the show's ratings were bad. He said it was fake news delivered by a man who had been wrong about everything for 20 years. He said Comedy Central was a failing network run by political operatives. Comedy Central's YouTube channel gained 400,000 subscribers between Monday night and Wednesday morning. The clip gained 8 million views on the same day Trump called it failing. Both numbers were reported without editorial comment in threads that placed them beside each other and let the architecture of the comparison do what the architecture of the comparison does when the numbers are in the public record. Speak. By April 20th, when Stewart placed the checkerboard on the desk and walked through every move of the Iran strategy from launch to ceasefire, each concession marked on the checker side, each initial claim marked on the chess side, the demonstration ending with the checkers side having captured every piece and the chess side empty, he said, this is the art of the deal. He said, 8 weeks, 93 million people, 4 U.S. service members, Iran's supreme leader dead, Iran's 10-point ceasefire framework accepted, and the checkers board. He pointed at the checkers side. He said, that one's Iran. He left the board on the desk. The camera stayed on it as the segment ended. A prop, 2 sides, the specific visual inventory of an 8-week military campaign laid out in the language of a game a child can play, on a desk in a television studio, by a man who had hoped never to need the segment again and had needed it for 54 consecutive days. The people who subscribe to this channel don't come for drama. They come for the moments nobody else is willing to show. The ones where the most precise available analysis of a foreign policy catastrophe is delivered not by a general, not by a senator, not by a panel of experts in a cable news studio, but by a man with a checkerboard and 22 years of practice naming the thing that is happening in plain language before it becomes too large to name. Join them, subscribe, turn on notifications. The next truth is already on the table.